more focus on just a verbal conversation. We are going to have an interview today, and we are just going to be questioning Vasilij about him, and he's going to share his experiences.
Yeah, hi everyone. As Alex told you, obviously you're gonna know me a little bit better through the interview, but I just want to point out, obviously not only the achievements, but that I was part of Sail Coach from the early beginnings. So I worked with Trevor basically all my life, and is from Sail Coach that I learned most of my skills, and it's thanks to Sail Coach and thanks to Trevor and his team that I was able to achieve these results. I think all the results are really hard to make with just by yourself. You need a good team around you, and luckily I was blessed with having a great man like Trevor and all the Sail Coach team around me all my career.
Thank you, Vasilij. So today we are going to be talking a little bit about you, and because I'm working and Sail Coach is working these days with a lot of young people and the new generation, which are not really knowing themselves so well, and they're trying to start the Olympic campaigns, or they're trying to do some high-level competition. So we want to learn a little bit from your experience, how you became from a kid to a Olympic sailor. And I'll just go through a couple of questions. And probably the first question will be, what age did you start, and on which boat you started sailing? That's the most things people are probably interested in.
Basically, I started at the age of 7 in my local club in Isola. It's a very small town, and we are lucky because the weather allows us in the summertime to sail, and I think most of the kids in my town, they try sailing and see if they like it or not. The truth, I really didn't like it from the beginning. I was trying also some other sports like soccer, handball, and tennis, and all the other sports. But then, in few years, maybe I was around 10. I felt like sailing was something special for me, and I just basically started from there. So my first experience was at 7, but then I really start sailing and training at age of 10, and like most of the kids do or did in that time was Optimist. So we all started in Optimist, and we obviously sailed in 14 years of age, and from there I understood, obviously, and I learned the basics of sailing, but I also understood that sailing was something special in my life, and I just want to keep sailing and see what I get. It was nothing about performance at that stage, and nothing about thinking to go to Olympics or to win a medal, but just I felt like the sea and the sailing was part of my life, an important part of my life. That's why I continue later on.
Great, thank you. And another question would be, is like, what age you started actually to race? Because I'm working with a young level kids as a side job, and it's sometimes there is a question, what age we should start racing them? And what was your first feeling about the racing itself?
It's a tough question, I think. It's very individual. Some people, they like to race more or to compete more. Some just want to have a sport or sailing as a way of life, something just for keeping in a good shape, to do something. It's very individual. I don't remember much from racing in Optimist. At that stage, to tell the truth, I prefer to train, because the races just took usually all Saturday and all Sunday, and then I was struggling obviously on Monday in the school. So just was very long days on the water. So I didn't really enjoy. I prefer like sailing, the normal training, and having fun with friends. I believe sailing is a sport that takes time to really understand it. It doesn't. Sailors who thinks at 14 or 15 they know about sailing, it's just the beginning. It's just a sailing school, and the kids should enjoy it, and take racing as part of learning or part of understanding how sailing works, not really the actual result.
So you are not one of these kids who went through a lot of optimist regattas, non-stop traveling. So you are not that type of the opti kid who was doing a lot of like almost professional sailing at this age. You took it a little bit later, yes?
But yes, but also because at that stage there wasn't so much traveling or movement. There was not so much opportunities to do that. These days you see the traveling is easy. You can find boats anywhere else. So probably the people take advantage of it. At that stage, we obviously financially we couldn't afford to travel so much around. So if we sail maybe one or two international events a year was already a big thing. So I'm not sure taking optimist a professional in a way of not as sport but as achieving results. I think it's too early. Obviously all the sports are different, and in some sports you really need to perform by age of 14, 15. But the problem of optimists is once you stop it and you move to another class, you start from the beginning, and that you have to realize it. That is just a starting point. The optimist is a learning point. Should be fun. Should be the way of understanding everything, not racing. Because I know a lot of sailors that start very late with sailing as a sport, and they were still able to perform and do excellent or medal at the Olympics. So it doesn't really need to be super professional from the optimist stage.
This is also from my experience when you're studying about the top sailors who are at the minute, and maybe 20 or 40% of these guys start early. We all think that you have to start early to be a top sailor in the later stage. So it's a good thing you mentioned. And I would move forward with the questions. Is just regarding the sailing itself. When you started to sail more, when you hit the teenage age, and you started to spend more time on the water, how did you balance it with your studying? Because that's a most critical question at the minute from the parents. Is how to balance the sailing and studying. How did you manage doing that?
So first of all, I chose sailing as my priority. I think no matter who is somebody wants to be an athlete, wants to be a sportsman, I think has to choose the priority, and the other thing, they have to be kind of on the sides. So when I want to take sailing as a serious sport, and I want to become a professional sailor, I said, okay, that's I want to be. That's my I felt like that was my route and goal to achieve. And then I said, studying will be on the side. In the side, that means that I didn't left the studies, never. I was always kind of in university or high school contact. So I always have in mind, okay, I have to do 1 or 2 exams a year just to keep in mind that I wanted to finish university. I want to be educated. And I didn't want to say, okay, now I give everything to sailing and then I will study later. At that point, I felt it was just too risky. So spend, I don't know, 5-6 years and then doesn't go right, and then start studying from zero. I felt like it's going to be really hard psychologically. Instead of that, I said, okay, I will try to do 1 exam or 2 exams a year. And then when there will be opportunity, or whenever I will finish with sailing, I will kind of be in the, still having in my mind the university, and I will finish it. This is what I did. So it took me obviously a long time to finish my studies, but I did. And I'm still studying at the moment. So I'm still doing the university at this stage. I'm doing the 2nd university already. So it's, I felt like I don't want to lose that during the sailing period. So I was actually really happy with the system at the end, because it gave me just some knowledge at the end. Because if you do the studying before and you say, okay, I will do everything for studying and then I will start sailing, I think it's really hard. Because obviously
you are missing the golden age during the university. It's also the age when you are improving the fastest and the most probably in sailing. Yeah, so you have
exactly. And then it's, I think it's really hard to make up that time later on, and obviously somehow you get other priorities. So obviously from my experience, that way of doing it, and especially when I have an injury or some easier months to sail, I took the opportunity to study and make more exams. So obviously, thankfully also to the university that helped me in that way. But at that time, I wasn't known as I am today in my country. So I didn't have much of a help. I was still building up my career and my results. So it's also was kind of good to do university just as the distraction for the sport. So that not the sport was the only thing in my life. Okay, I have some other things in my life as well, which obviously later on in your life it's going to be like this, no matter what.
I think it's a good example, because a lot of kids are pushed by the parents and they say you have to put 100% into your studies. Then the universities themselves, they put a lot of pressure on the kids that you have to do what we say. But what we've learned from your explanation is actually you found the compromise how to communicate with universities to understand our sport and give us delays, and then you can complete all the studies, just giving you time, because it's very difficult to explain to the teachers in university what are you doing, and need time. So I think Vasilij should just break it into a longer period and at the end complete it. And it's probably one of the way for most of the top sailors, never give up on the studies, but also not to think that I'll do first studies, and then you have to balance both things at the same time, and it's possible to do it. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I think the let's say the time you spend in sport at that age just give you that trigger in your mind, and you become definitely more independent and more self understanding, and that definitely helps you in your studies, because sports is cruel. It's nothing you can manage or find some way to cut some cutouts and stuff like this. In sport doesn't exist. You have to work hard. You have to do some timings and exercises, and everything has to be perfect. And if you can put a little bit of that in the studies, there is absolutely no problem. And actually it's you feel it very easy, and the studying it's very easy, because the sailing is so complex as well, that if you don't commit 100% to it, it's really hard to achieve good results. So if you understand the basic of sport and the sport mentality, and you put that into normal life or to university life, it's very easy. Like it's super easy compared to what you have to do to achieve a result, to beat someone, to be going to sleep enough time. All these things that you learn from the sport, and you put a little bit of this into a university or normal life, you will make a success for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. We are moving to the next question. And since you were talking about that you were 100% dedicated to the sport and you were really focused and you were managing to balance with your studies, what actually inspired you to be the Olympic sailor? What really triggered you to follow this pathway, like to be an Olympic sailor, like to do all the high level competition? What was the inspiration for you?
I actually didn't have any inspiration, tell you the truth.
You
It
just
just
went
went
with
step
the
by
flow.
step. It's really, it just went step by step. I wanted to obviously sail and to compete, and then just one step by step, just my, you know, my needs and my will and everything just grow, and from one level goes to another, to local races, these races, and just went step by step on. I at the beginning I wasn't thinking, oh, I want to go to the Olympics, and that was kind of not. I want to do sports. I want to be a sportman. That was my goal. I want to live a sport life. I want to try to beat myself every day. To try to find um, uh, who I am, how I react to things. That was my goal. And then just it went step by step. I never thought I'm gonna win a medal. That was just too far away, or nobody could believe some achievement like this, especially in a small country like Slovenia. So it just went step by step, and obviously you have some heroes you're looking, and some good sailors and other sportsmen that are achieving good results, but it just went so kind of smoothly. There was nothing that was the trigger. Maybe there was a small trigger when I was during my sailing career. At the beginning I was working 1 or 2 jobs, and I remember I was doing one job, was putting the big adverts there next to the roads with
with the paper one, yeah,
and everything, paper, and I was putting, and I have them around 100 of them, and there was a good job actually, because you work 2-3 times a month, and the salary was good and everything. But the problem, one was windy, and you have to put this big piece, there are 8 pieces on the wall, and it's windy, you have it all over your face. And I was just kind of one day said, oh look, it's just something that I'm not sure I want to do this for the rest of my life. So instead I felt like I can perform well in sailing. And that was a little bit that said, okay, I can find some better way to survive.
Maybe it's a good suggestion for some of the younger ones. Probably try some other jobs, because we get everything for granted. We don't even think what else we could do. So we have all, and then people are just getting spoiled. But what you mentioned before about that it went just step by step, and you like the progressions. Probably one of the key of the success these days is not to live with the dream. Oh, I want to be Olympic sailor. Is actually about what are you doing right now, and how much things you're developing or improving in that moment, in the present. And that's probably where a lot of kids are missing these days, and even the teenagers, that they heard about such a nice and cool stuff as the Olympic Games, and they said, I want to be there, but with a minimal job. While you choose another pattern, you just went with the process, and the process brought you to the success. And it's a good thing to mention here for people who still don't know who they are. Yeah. And if we go this way, maybe you have some idea from your sailing events, like which event actually was a turning point in your sailing career, that you started to really focus on medals. If you went like through the progression and you said you enjoyed this progression, which was the turning event which really give you confidence that you can start achieving the medals or being a top sailor? Do you have one of these?
Yes, as I said, I do have. As I said, I never thought I will be an Olympic medal or even a medal at the laser Europeans or Worlds. Uh, it just came, as I said, step by step, and the event that actually changed everything in my sailing career was the Europeans in 2003 in Split, which I won. From that on, I start to believe that I can really get some good results. I think that was a psychological point that was just change the game, change the way how I was, and the way I sailed later on, and my self belief and trust in what I was doing. Because obviously, you have to understand that I won these Europeans when I was 28. So it took 10 years of hard work that you don't know really how it's gonna turn out. But luckily, I have good teammates like Mate Arapov, who just give me a lot of confidence, and Jacopo Ferrari Bravo, who was my training partner, and a lot of good sailors who we just kind of give you some good feedbacks to continue your career, because obviously you come to many points that you say, okay, I will give up. So my first result actually came super late, and obviously when it's like this, everybody start to doubt, oh, and yourself start to doubt, oh, if this was the right way, or your training is well and everything. But then after the result comes, then everything changed, obviously, and it did change, and it did change my rest of my career.
Thank you. That's a big achievement, European gold medal, and I'm pretty sure it gave you a lot of confidence. And it was also in year 2003, and it was just 1 year before the Olympic Games, so it was probably the right time, the right moment to move to the next step, and that was. Also a bit of a lucky timing for you. I know it went much older than the rest of us, but don't forget you're coming from the smaller nation where you didn't come from the big sailing community where you had a lot of training partners and you didn't have this stuff. So you took it a bit slower, but eventually by your hard work, it went to the good point in 2003. We are gonna move to the next question, and this is gonna be probably the main topic of the day. And you mentioned you had, but later you got your first Olympic medal. And I'm just jumping into the future that later on you got a medal in 2008 and a medal in 2016. And from that, you created a really big legend about yourself, about being able to perform at the most important events, and such as an Olympic Games, because not many people repeated your achievements of continuously getting the medals at the most important events. And maybe you can share with us some ways of approaching to the important events that, let's say, some of the club sailors, they're aiming for winning their nationals, or some of the national team, they want to get to the Olympic team. How to prepare for the most important race of your life. What was your small secret in that stuff?
So when I went to the Olympics in Sydney, after the first day, I was second overall, which was a kind of surprise. This was in 2000. And I came ashore, and there was hundreds and hundreds of press people from Slovenia, other countries, and make me all this interview. I have eyes like this, and was completely shocked. And obviously the next days I wasn't performing, because that was kind of dream for me, and obviously distract my way of thinking and of sailing and everything else, which was a big lesson for me. But I realized how important are the Olympic Games. If you want to make a difference, especially in sailing, the Olympic Games are obviously also in other sports, are really the pinnacle of our sport. And it gives you really a good feedback as a sportsman, a good publicity. Everybody's talking about medal. And that from that point, I realized how important were the Olympic Games, because you don't find that in class worlds or Europeans, not even close to this. So I said, okay, I lost here the opportunity in Sydney, but I make sure I really try to not mess up the next ones. So from that experience in Sydney, I felt like, okay, I need to work on, and then when I have the results, I will start to manage it. And that was really a good lesson mentally, to see how the Olympics works and how big event it is. So everything after that, and when I felt like I can achieve that result, especially after the Europeans in Split in 2003, when I won it, when it was basically worlds, because everybody was there, just gave me that trigger. So all the next Olympics cycles, they were all just thinking about the next Olympic Games. That means that also many of the important races I was training through. I was going to the gym and I was killing myself also at the Worlds, just because I said, okay, these are not important for me. The important event is this one. Here I need to perform, and just choosing and put pressure on myself when to perform. So I just choose one event. I said, okay, it was in my mind, okay, this event, I want to perform this event. I will put me under pressure and everything. And if I didn't perform, that was super angry about me and try to find a different way. And I was the same time, I was trying to get an event. If I achieve good result, that was enough. I said, okay, that's it. Now focus on the Olympics. That was basically my secret, if we can say it's a secret, but was just really focus everything, every small detail that I was not taking care in the normal races, I would take care at the Olympics. That means I was at the Olympics, I was always 100% rested. I never been 100% rested in any other event. I will always want to be over trained or a little bit more tired than just normal events. And then I just said, okay, for Olympics, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. I need psychological advance. I need good training partners. I need a good person next to me who will help me in achieving this result. That was obviously Trevor. And I need to be in my kind of best shape. But apart from that, when you feel you can achieve a result, but I never thought about achieving it. I was always saying, okay, I want to give my best. I want to be my best. I will perform. I want to be performed. This obviously everybody says I want to perform my best, but that means you have to push you every day. It's not something that, okay, at this regatta I want to do my best. I will be. You never know what is your best until you don't push every day. I remember also there were some trainings, and I said, okay, we're going to make three training event races, and I said I want to win all three of them. I was like really pushing, like it was my last race of my life, and I said I want, and I was super angry if I didn't achieve it. So it's just kind of mindsetting that you have to do, or I did, to actually prepare for the biggest events. And obviously I felt, okay, the Olympics are the biggest event. This will change my life completely. And it did. So that are the most important. And the feeling that you have jumping on the podium at the Olympics, it's something that you want more. Like I still want it. Like it's so special that it's obviously you can describe it, but it's just something that you will kill for. I mean, you know, I say crepat mane molat means I prefer to die than give up, and it is the truth. So that's the feeling that you just can't describe, and you just want more, obviously.
Yeah, I know you for more years than probably from 2010, and I met with you on a couple of the events, and I remember that you were very specific on all the details, and you were always sticking to the things which were working for you. I remember that you were always like doing your daily routine, daily training. You were never skipping you were never giving up, even if it was a small training session for the core. You would never skip it. You would always stick to the routine. That probably also quite important because some people, they dream big, but they forget about the daily stuff without breaking your rhythm. And probably in that aspects, you were very good as well. But when you were mentioning about putting some pressure on yourself to perform at the event, in the timings, when would it be? Like a week before the event, a month before the event, or through the whole 4-year period? For advice for the people, like what would you suggest, when to put pressure and when not to put pressure if they want to perform at one specific event?
Okay, I think it's very individual. So I think the most important is it's through training and through the sport. Understand how you work, listen to yourself, listen to your body. You need, as you said, to keep the routine. You have everything. It's not so much about a training session, but it's to do it, to go there the right time. It just will click triggers in your mind that you know that you did everything necessary. I usually try to achieve or to put some pressure on me usually a year before the Olympics, and to try to achieve results in some events. Sometimes I was close, sometimes not, but that's doesn't really mean anything if you learn something from that. If you learn something, why something happened, why something didn't achieve. And I think nowadays a sailor, they just execute things, and they really don't think so much about and they don't listen to their body and what their needs are. And this is the crucial point, because these things, they have to be discussed with the coach, obviously, because everybody is different, everybody has different needs. And the key point, I think, in this environment, especially today, is to share these thoughts, where you can somebody improve, where we cannot improve, what we should work on, what we should not, and that should be all the time. It shouldn't be just waiting for the coach to tell me something. It's not like this. It's like riding Formula One. So you need to give feedback to your mechanic to be able to fix your car so you can go fast. The same is in sailing. And picking what you need. Maybe you don't need, this was my experience, but maybe you don't need picks. Maybe every race is important for you. Approach to the racing is maybe very important, different. For me, for example, I just arrived to the event maybe a day before the event, because I felt like the 3-4 days before the event was useless, and I just lost a lot of energy and the psychological pressure, and I felt just wasn't good for me. So I was skipping that 2-3 days before the event. But that's very individual. I have sailors that are at the moment just they want to keep all the way. It's up to them. That's really nothing to do with something special. But for me, I felt like, okay, I don't want to do that, and I realized it after many years, actually. So I prepare for the venue, and I arrive last minute. That was kind of my way to doing it. But as I said, giving everything you have, keeping the routine, and sharing everything with the coach, with other sailors, all the information are crucial these days to understand yourself and to understand your needs.
Thank you. It's a very good explanation. I think these days we have a lot of opportunities. We have a lot of video feedback. It's not as in the old days, you didn't have any videos. Now you have a YouTube, medal races, coverage. There is a lot of information to get an outside vision, but also we have a lot of coaches around who are helping the sailors to get a lot of fast feedback, and that's why the process is a little bit faster these days. So I think it's a good stuff. You mentioned it. If we are moving forward, just not to keep it too long, and we are just getting to the next point, and probably let's discuss what was the most memorable medal for you. I was next to you on the last one, and I was in London also close to you, but I don't know the experiences from the first and second medal. So which one is your most memorable one?
Definitely the first and the last. No, obviously the first one was a big shock. I didn't remember half of it. So, you know, but the memories from the videos are keeping everything alive. Obviously, when I came home with the medal, there was a huge crowd waiting for my arrival, and that was definitely a special moment. But to tell you the truth, in both, I was just happy that the Olympics were finished, because there was so much psychological pressure, especially in the first one, because obviously you want to achieve it, but nobody really believe you can achieve it, or nobody were counting on me to achieve it. And the last one, because I gave on me so much pressure, because I said, okay, this is the last one. I want to finish with the medal, and I want the medal. So to succeed that in a really special place like Rio, I love it. That was actually the best moment. And obviously the best moments are after the Olympics, when you can have some party and you can enjoy with your people. Or when I came home, I always have a big crowd waiting for me, and that's something that's never gonna go out of my mind. But apart from that, every Olympic Games are special. Even the one that I was fifth, I was close to a medal in the medal race. Obviously, I didn't perform as I wanted, but it made it special because I analyzed it very well, and I understood what went wrong. And I said, okay, I don't want these things that happen in London, I don't want them to happen in Rio. So it just gave me that small things that I did well in London, and I knew it and analyzed it and I understand it why, and that helped me a lot. It just helped me to achieve the result in Rio.
Yeah, your result in Rio was one of the most outstanding, because it wasn't an easy class for you to handle, because with this new free pumping, and plus you were hitting the age where it wasn't easy everything for you. So that was probably a big achievement. And I remember when you got your medal and when you finished all your interviews, you said, guys, there is no celebration. I need a big sleep until tomorrow to realize what I've done, and then we can celebrate the medal. It was one of the things you mentioned, that you were giving everything you could, and then you had no energy to celebrate. You went just to sleep and wait to the next day. That was the thing. Thank you so much sharing with us all these memories and ideas. And I would go to the next question. Is just what would you suggest to the young kids or young sailors, like who are still in the youth program, like 4.7 and radial? What do you suggest for them, or what do you advise for them to do to become and to follow the Olympic career?
Obviously, if they are already 4.7 or radial, just continue working and continue and understand what means a life of a sportsman. we are absolutely different from anyone else, and many they don't understand it. But this is not our problem. We have to understand it that we are different. We are living different lives. We are living in extreme lives, which means timing is crucial. We need to perform. We need to do our exercise. We need to be professional. We need to eat right. We need to drink right. All these things, like all down to small details, even if you are in the youth events. So all these things are important that in general life it's not. And especially you can see these things in this period when it's really critical. The sportsmen are leaving it better because they can have a routine, they can use some different tool, they adapt very quickly to this environment that we have now. Many people, I'm telling you, many people, normal living people, they're struggling because they just cannot adapt. Sailors and sportsmen, they're adapting. They find the solutions. They find a way to train. They find routine. All this, and this is part of a life of a sportsman. And this is the most important thing. I don't believe so much these days into somebody is more talented than the other. I wasn't talented. I wasn't performing some extra results in Optimist or a youth level. I was just somebody who believed and want to make something good out of myself and to improve day by day and to see how I, as I said before, how I react on things and what I need, what are my needs, how I can make myself psychologically strong and all these things. And everybody is different. So everybody has to have a certain way of doing things, but no matter what, in sport, routine, going to the gym, waking up early, having enough sleep, having good food, obviously water, drinking, and all these things are the basic. If you don't have these, then it just change, go to something else, and because it's just something that the sport doesn't allow you to miss. You will if you don't do them, you will always miss something. In real life, it's different. In real life, you go out, you drink, and Saturday, Sunday, you're off. Monday, you go to work, and everything will be fine. Maybe you work halfway, and you still do something. In sport, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like this, and many people doesn't understand. But it's not up to you to make them believe in something. And the problem of the sport, which we are discussing in the beginning, is that nobody sees the middle part. So when you work hard, when you work in the morning and you run and you go with the bike, nobody sees that. Everybody sees the results. And the worst thing that you can do is to, as a kid or as a youth, just to see the result. And obviously the media doesn't help in this way because they always just want to see the medals, the performing, and that doesn't help. But you have to understand the sport works like this. Nobody will see the middle part, and the middle part takes very long or can take very short. It's really depends on individual. So yes,
probably the most important part is to enjoy the middle part. A lot of kids, they live with a dream, but they do not enjoy the middle part. Just to enjoy the middle part and to live with it. That's another thing to believe in it. Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, enjoying must be some kind of enjoying. Can be a joy of a pain. Or hiking, you start to enjoy it after a while, or otherwise you don't go through. So you have to find a way. Nobody will tell you, oh, enjoy, oh, I'm enjoying because the water is 10 degrees and nobody's enjoying it. But you have to find a way to enjoy it. And everybody is different and everybody finds the way to enjoy it. And you have to find a way. It's not something that it just comes. It never comes. In not sport. I did many sport. I did 5 years of rowing. I suggest all my kids or sailors, okay, let's do 1 month of rowing on the rowing machine.
And they all just get lost.
So it's complicated, and you have to find a way to enjoy it. and you have to find a way enjoying the rowing machine. How? Different trainings, different environment, maybe put some things on, or it's always, but it's just the process of a sportsman to think about how to improve. Nobody can tell you how you can do. Nobody can push you to going to the gym. Many times I didn't want to go to the gym, and I didn't, but I said, I just go there, even if I will not train, but I go there because I said at 9 o'clock I will be to the gym. And I went to the gym at 9 o'clock, and then I slowly move a little bit. And then, okay, some days, oh, super, I made super strong gym. Some days I was, okay, not so good. But anyway, I made the gym. That's the most important. I went there, I did it. It didn't went well because it's impossible that you have every day perfect day, and every day you're going to execute. And some days you are tired, sometimes you sleep well, sometimes not. But it's just being there, execute, follow the plan, follow the rules of sport, and then you can expect some results.
And this is called discipline, which probably not well taught in the schools, and we have to develop it ourselves in this modern world, because in the schools they don't give you so much disciplines. They tell you you can do whatever you want, but they don't say how to do it. Yeah. So one of the things is to be a discipline. So we are gonna move forward to the next question, and it's gonna be the last one for today because we've been a little bit longer than what we were expecting. At the minute, you are sitting in the board of the World Sailing as a member of the Developing of Sport and Athletes Commission. Could you explain us a little bit how it works? Because it sounds like a very scientific name, and not many people understand what's the goal of this commission.
So the Athlete Commission is formed by 6 members. So we are all basically sailors, and we have one representative on the board of World Sailing. That it's not really much, but still we can get our feedback to the World Sailing, feedback from sailors, and figure from the ground when racing and developing and all the rest equipment from our sport. Obviously, we have only one member on board, which I hope we're gonna be able to get a little bit more. That will help also to make the World Sailing a little bit easier to understand. It's very complex environment, very bureaucratic in some kind of ways. But you have to understand that sailing it's a very specific sport. It's not like athletics. Athletics, you have 100 meters run, you have high jump, you have 400 meters run. In sailing, you have consistent development of the equipment. It's a good part of our sport. The main problem at the moment, which I see and I'm pointing out, is the way they are introducing new classes to Olympics, the way are introducing the new rules. It's not correct. This should be more kind of taught things, should be a certain time of developing a class or testing a class before it actually can go to the Olympics. Not just you put a class to the Olympics or a year before and then it goes to the Olympics. That I don't think is that correct way, because as I said, we have so many options in sailing, so many developing going on, which makes our sport exciting, also for young generation, and we just need to be able to make that development working. At the moment, that is just a case of managing better the things and just seeing, oh, this event. And if you look the past, we just changed too many boats at the Olympics, and none of them survived to Olympics. So from eagling and match racing a woman and this, I'm not sure that's a good way to do it. That's my only point actually to do. And then obviously I think that should be some adjusting on racing. Obviously I'm a little bit on side of single-handed, and then with double-handed we have also always some issues, but that's the way it is. But as I said, if the things were run a little bit better, a little bit more clear and we have clear ways on how to deal with sailing, and there will be not just one vote can change everything, but should be certain ways to clarify things and to make the decision easier for everyone, then and more understandable, then I think the sailing would be much easier to run and much easier to understand.
And does this commission has a lot of voice, as you are representing the voice of the sailors into the world sailing? Does it have a lot of response on the higher level? Do you actually have the voice, or it's just your suggestion and vision?
We have a voice, but we not can decide anything. As I said, we have one member, Jan Richard, is on the board, but that is out of, I think, 9 or 10 or 11. So actually we don't have that much. And then obviously for all the votings, you have all the members, national members. So it's a big, that has to be somehow
reduced and
make more efficient, because at the moment it runs like it was run 30 years ago, but it's just not the case at the moment. It just has to be everything more efficient and better run for sure.
As an example, these days we don't need to fly for the meeting, so we can just do a Zoom call and everyone is happy all around the world. So that's one of the small improvements where the world sailing can just work online without flying to London to meet up and save some money. Yes.
I agree. But as I said, the meetings are good, but we don't need 100 people to make a vote for something. I think we have smart people. Obviously, we need to change our sport a little bit, not too much. We still to keep sailing like it is. It is a very specific sport, and we like it like it is. And definitely changes are welcome, but they have to be really thought well.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna move to the last picture, and I would really like you to tell us the story behind this picture, because remembering this thing, I was still like quite young and I saw this on the TV. It was well shown on the pictures on the BBC News, and when Paul Goodison just won his gold medal and he was just sailing past celebrating with the British flag, and suddenly you just jump in, knock him down, put him in the water, and that picture became viral and it became very famous almost for a week on all the media. It was all around the world published this picture, and it became a very popular one. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's a special moment, but I will go back 4 years from that picture, and it was 2004. And in the last race, me, Goodison, and Lima, Gustavo, were battling for the 3rd place. And unluckily, Goodison finished 4th, which is, I think, the worst place to be at the Olympics, because I saw his disappointment and disappointment of his coach and all the team. They were expecting a medal, obviously, and then finish 4 after obviously 4 years. It must be really tough. And when he won in Beijing, I was almost more happy for him than for me. It's really stupid to say, but I was really happy for him, because he deserved it. He worked really hard, and he achieved it very professionally and the right way. So coming back from a 4th place, it's super hard, but he made a good comeback, and I was super happy for him. That's why I jumped, and as I said, I was almost more happy for him than for me. But obviously, I won a medal as well, and then that was my second, and his was his first one, and a gold. But that was really an emotional moment between me and him, and I was, as I said, very happy for him to win a gold medal.
Thank you so much for sharing with us all this information, because this was happening for some of the people. It was happening long time ago, and it's always good to remind those stories, because you are very well known as a role model for a lot of athletes who were following your examples, and you were always good, and you were always treating everyone evenly. And this is a very good example how you appreciated even your rivals, but when they achieve, and they were showing that they were working for it, and you were appreciating even your rivals medal. So that's a very good example for the people about achieving the results, but at the same time being nicer to other people, and sharing the success with the people. Thank you so much, Vasilij, for all this time with you. Hopefully people enjoyed it. And if we can have just one or two questions from the public, you are welcome to ask, and ask Vasilij.
Yeah, I have a question.
Just one, please, because we've been a little bit long. Just who is talking?
Oh, it's Julian from Hong Kong.
Oh, hi, Julian from Hong Kong.
Hey, lots of
Julian.
pressure. I was wondering, when you were on the podium at the Olympics, what do you think set yourself apart from the person who, say, came 20th, or like towards the bottom end of the people in the Olympics? What was the difference between you guys? Because you guys worked very hard to put yourself into the Olympics, but what set you apart?
But I think it's the psychological part for sure. I remember in Athens there were so many good sailors. Suneson, Hamish Pepper, and like there were like 20, 30 sailors who could won a medal. I think it's just psychological way of dealing with the situations. And to tell you the truth, many times when I'm sailing, obviously you try to make less mistake, but you just try to see other making mistakes and other how they feel. I worked a lot on the psychological effect of sailing, and how people were dealing with who will take a corner, who has to struggle with something, and who is good in some conditions, and some that was just keeping my confidence high. I think the skills they have, all most of the sailors are the skills, especially these days, and the biggest difference is the psychological way of doing it. But the psychological they're doing is not just something that happens or you exercise. Is you have to achieve it with knowing yourself, which I was telling before. So that means you really understand how you work under pressure, understanding things. I saw many sportsmen, they just don't acknowledge they are nervous. For example, at the Olympics, if somebody thinks I'm not nervous, I was super nervous. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. But just some people that don't want to realize it, or they want to. I just realized, yeah, I am. I just need to find a way how I can deal with this. I know I will be super stressful. That will be stress. I don't want to get away from it. That is part of the game. I want to enjoy it, even at the stress point. And you have to enjoy the stress point. You're not going to sleep. You're barely walking and everything. It's going to be fine. You're not going to perform. You're going to get the adrenaline in, and you're going to perform. Your body will react to that. You just have to deal with your issues, with your stress, with everything the best way you can. And this nobody can teach you. Nobody can teach you, because everybody is different. You just have to find a way to be able to deal yourself with the issue. And just have to find a way. And for example, in Rio, before the last day, I wasn't sleeping. I was super nervous, and I said, yeah, I need to do something, just to get the time by. I said, no. I will sit in the couch and I will deal with my situation. And I sat all the day on the couch. I was super nervous, and I was struggling so much. I want to go out, run, going in the mountain. I would prefer to do anything else. Instead, I said, no, calm down, sit here, deal with the pain, deal with the inside pain, deal with the stress pain. And I spent, I think, 10 or 12 hours on the couch, just by myself. That was the hardest moment of my life. The race was easy. That was the hardest part. That was the hardest part. Sit down, relax, not relax, obviously you can relax, but deal with them. Deal knowing the pain and knowing that you have to go through it.
Thank you so much
Wow.
once again for all this sharing, because I'm pretty sure there are some characters in this conference who would implement and it would work. For some people it wouldn't work because we are all different, but it's always good to share different approaches and different visions, especially the one which worked before, so people can analyze it and see what works for them. And that's the best answer of this webinar. It's like learn and try to understand who you are and what is working for you. Thank you so much, Vasilij. It was a pleasure having you, and it was such a good meeting. I'm so happy. So for the rest of the people, we are going to meet next Tuesday, and I'm going to complete my downwind session, and we are going to keep you updated on the social media, who is going to be our next guest on the Thursday, the coming week. Also, you can see that the laser class, the International Laser Class Association, is also sharing our information. So the people who missed the webinar, you can find the copy of the video on Sail Coach website and also on the Laser International website. So stay tuned and see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very completely